on the last stream, we were working on completing one of the quests in the extended crafting questline. Specifically, we spent way too much time trying to craft the ultimate ingot, the highest tier of ingot in the game, made up of these 29 other ingots, all of which are combined together in the ultimate crafting table to make one ultimate ingot. And right at the end of the last stream, we did manage to make that happen. We have one ultimate ingot in our crafting table. Unfortunately, I think the ultimate ingot on its own is kind of useless. On its own, the only things you can make are ultimate ingot nuggets, ultimate ingot components, and ultimate ingot blocks. If you combine it with an ultimate singularity, that will get you some creative essence, which again is kind of useless on its own. You need multiple of these for a lot of the creative items at the end game. And most importantly, if we are going to get that creative essence, we do need those ultimate singularities. And so it's at this point that we do need to start working towards what might be one of the hardest items in the game to make, and that is, of course, the ultimate singularity. So to make this, we need 26 different singularities that we then combine again in the ultimate crafting table to make the one ultimate singularity. Each of these singularities are made by pumping in 5,000 of a given resource into one quantum compressor. And if my calculations are correct, if we look at the Chapter Challenge 14 quest line, if we're going to complete this quest here and get the reward, the trophy, for beating the pack, we are going to have to get, I think, 33 creative essence. That being all of the creative essence required to make all of these rewards here, the creative disc, the creative paste container, the creative controller, etc. So if we need 33 creative essence, that means that we need 33 ultimate ingots and 33 ultimate singularities. 33 ultimate singularities means 33 of every single one of these singularities, and 33 of these singularities, each of which requires 5,000 items, means that I believe we need about 160,000 of every single item listed on this page. So 160,000 uranium, tin, bronze, coal, copper, diamond, mob. Mob is just a singularity that can take any mob drop, so that one might be easier than others. Seeds, zinc, wood, invar, glowstone, electrum, all of them. We need 160,000 of every single one. Now, some of these are not going to be too bad. Right now, we don't have 160,000 of anything. And so right now, that's definitely a problem. So what we're going to do today, I think, is kind of twofold. I do want to start working towards the quantum compressor. I don't think this is going to be too difficult to make. Once we have that, we can actually start making some of the singularities here. But I think what we're also going to have to do is probably vastly increase the number of seeds and the number of hydroponic beds in this room. In fact, we might even have to set up multiple levels of hydroponic bed. And people have pointed out that while this fertilizer upgrade does work basically in the entire room now, it's not as efficient as it could be, in that it's actually faster to have multiple pedestals that cover a smaller area than to have one pedestal that covers a giant area. And so what we might do is we might set up a few layers of hydroponic beds, and then get even more of these guys just set to like the basic 3x3 area, but have multiple of them covering all of those beds to try and make things as fast as possible. So speaking of mystical agriculture seeds, I also think one thing that we might look into doing in today's stream is potentially getting these Seabox seeds. These are going to allow us to actually grow Seabox essence that we can then craft into Seabox, essentially giving us an unlimited amount of cash to spend at the store down here. To do that, we are going to have to complete all 5 of the older farming quest lines, those being the quest lines for tier 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 seeds. For the most part, I don't think any of these quests are going to be too difficult for us to do, that meaning that any of these seeds are going to be too hard for us to make. We have most of the resources here. There are a few that we don't have. For example, Endobiotic Seeds are seeds that we are going to need because we do actually need Endobiotic to make biotite singularities, which are required for the ultimate singularity. But in order to get Endobiotic, we have to go through to the end. There's some ore in the end that appears after you fight the End Dragon. So we are going to have to head through and do that at some point if we're going to complete these quests here. But like I say, I think for the most part, none of these are going to be too difficult. It's just going to be a case of getting all the resources, getting all of the essences, and crafting them all in the combat machine. So before we look at making all of these, I think we will go through to the end and see if we can't get at least 4 Endobiotic, as well as at least 4 Dragon Scales. Those are required for the Dragon Seeds in Tier 6 here. The Dragon Scale says it's dropped by the Ender Dragon upon death. I'm assuming you only get 1 scale. Now, I don't know if adding looting to our Supremium Sword is going to increase the number of scales that we get. However, I did do some testing with the Twitch chat, and although you can't enchant the Supremium Sword in an enchantment table, you can add enchantment books to the Supremium Sword. And so our Randall's actually down over here. And so if we get the looting book, we can put it in and give the sword looting that way. So I think what we're probably going to want to do here is once again grab our enchantment factory, place it back down temporarily. Again, you can't enchant the Supremium Sword in here, but if we put in a Diamond Sword, for example, what we should then be able to do, presumably, is grab a tank. We might as well go for a higher tier one here. Our system does know how to make it. Once again, start pulling essence away from the Jumbo tank, putting it into the enchantment factory, using the Diamond Sword to get the enchants. Of course, we then want to use the enchantment extractor to pull those enchants once again off the Diamond Sword, and when we get an enchantment that we want, like Looting 3 or Sharpness 5 or something along those lines, we can then use our anvil over here to re-add that enchantment to our Supremium Sword, which is not only going to make it easier for us to fight the End Dragon, because our sword will deal more damage, but also it'll hopefully increase the number of scales we get, and therefore in turn reduce the number of times that we have to fight the End Dragon. So first try round, we got Smite 5, Knockback 2, and Unbreaking 3. Not all massively useful, so Smite is probably the only one here that we want to put on. We could put Knockback on, but I don't really think it's really worth it. Let's go ahead and run that through again. While that's running through, let's come over here and quickly do one of these to add Smite 5 to our Supremium Sword. This time around, we got Sharpness 5 and Knockback 2. Again, Knockback, probably not something that we're after, but I will take Sharpness 5. That's definitely going to be worthwhile, I think, on the old Supremium Sword here. Okay, so my lack of vanilla knowledge is coming back to bite me massively here, because chat is pointing out that I'm a fool. You cannot, in fact, add both Smite and Sharpness to your tool, and given that Smite only works on undead enemies, it's probably going to be best for us to just drop Sharpness 5 on there instead. So now we're basically just looking for looting. And there we go. We got Sharpness 5, Strength 3, and now Looting 3 as well. Beautiful. So if we go up to the end quest here, I think if we're going to go to the end, unlike in some Skyblock style packs where you have to make an end cake and that allows you to very quickly get to the end, I think in this pack we actually have to go find an end portal. So the first quest here is the Map Generator Stronghold, which should point us directly to our nearest stronghold, making it obviously a lot easier to find. It's made by just dropping a normal map generator in with 5 slime balls and 46 millibuckets worth of molten ender. That seems like an extremely specific amount of molten ender. I assume you get like one, quote-unquote, 1 slime ball worth for every Eye of Ender that you put in here, although it's quite possible that you get 1 ingot's worth and not 1 slime ball's worth. No, you get 1 slime ball's worth. So it is very odd that you would need 5 slime balls and 46 millibuckets. So we have to put 4 more ender pearls in, and then we need like half of another ender pearl. Either way, we have it nonetheless. We are going to have to pull one of those out in ingot form. Well, we don't have to, but if we're going to complete the quest, we should pull one of those out in ingot form. And then just to make my life easier, I'll put another 2 in here so we don't have to resmelt the ingot after the fact. There we go, quest complete. So now we have unlocked this quest here. The map generator itself, super easy. We need 4 empty maps, 4 planks, and then 1 compass. So hopefully we have all of that stuff ready to go here. Of course, we don't. That would be far too easy. And apparently a compass in this pack is made by pulling 4 ingots worth of iron over a redstone dust, which is also not a recipe that I was prepared for, but either way, also really shouldn't be too difficult for us to do. So I'll drop the redstone in there. And then just as soon as all of these iron ingots have smelted, we can pull those out and over. There's the compass. Then for the maps, those are not too difficult, but do require compasses as well. Okay, so we actually need 4 more redstone, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 16 more iron. Okay, so 4 compasses and 4 empty maps later, we have the regular old map generator. So now all we need to do is drop the old map generator into the basin. We can then pull the ender over that, and then hopefully, fairly quickly, we should get our stronghold map generator, at which point that should hopefully point us basically directly to the stronghold. Once we get to the stronghold, it looks like we do need to take some Eyes of Ender with us. That is fine. In the last stream, we did teach our system how to make Eyes of Ender. And between streams, of course, we've been getting quite a bit of both Ender and Blaze essence. And so now we should just be able to go ahead and request, let's say, a stack of Eyes of Ender. Beautiful. And they're made almost instantaneously due to how fast the netherite crafters are, which is fantastic. This is done. And the quest is complete. For now, we can drop this down right about here. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, do we have to make a map and then right-click it onto the map generator? Is that how that works? So you have to break the map generators, and then once you've broken it, then it will point you to where you need to go. So there is the X. It's kind of hard to tell. Like, obviously, we're at the top there where that little dot is. I'm not entirely certain how far we have to go here, or specifically in which direction we need to go. And here it is. Here is our end portal. So if we drop in all of our Eyes of Ender here, we get our end portal. We are playing on a server, so it is entirely possible that the End Dragon has already been defeated. That's not a huge problem. We can, of course, resummon it with crystals. You'll also notice that Endobiotic also should not be a problem for us. Now let's just go ahead and grab a batch of that. We got 46. Again, we are going to need 165,000 of that if we're going to get the Singularity. And so while we could go and mine like all of this if we wanted to, given that it's not even going to get us close to the 165,000 that we need, I feel like we're better off just taking what we have, making the seeds, and then letting our hydroponic beds do most of the work. If we are going to make the end crystals required here, we are going to need gas tiers, which we actually don't have at the moment. And again, not too long later, we now have sifted quite a bit of compressed soul sand, and we have 4 gas tiers ready to go. While we might need more than 4, especially if we have to fight the End Dragon more than once, for now, we do have everything it takes, or almost everything, which is missing some glass, to make these end crystals, at which point we can head on through, fight the End Dragon, and hopefully get at least one, maybe multiple scales. Again, if we don't get quite 4, we're going to have to fight the dragon at least one more time. But if we get lucky, maybe we'll get 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. I did quickly grab a bow here out of our refined storage system just to make my life a little easier in terms of these crystals. And there we go. The End Dragon has been defeated. We did kill it right over the portal, but that is, I think, more than enough scales. We got 10 dragon scales. I don't know if those are the right scales, though. And there it is. We had to come home back here. This is why, like, World Spawn 000 is like here. So the dragon scales, they fell through the portal, and here they are in the overworld. But we did get 8 dragon scales from that one fight. So it looks like the looting there did come in particularly useful. So now, chat, I think we basically have everything that we need to make all of the seeds required to unlock the sea books. We just have to go through the process of doing all of that seed crafting over in here. Okay, so quite a while later, and we have basically gone through and crafted almost every single one of the mystical agriculture seeds in the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, and tier 6 quest lines. All of these are basically the exact same process over and over and over again. Each of the different tiers requires a different essence, so we just grab the essence, grab the ingots or items required to make those seeds, as well as a bunch of prosperity seed bases. place all the items down, and craft over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and eventually we get all of these seeds. In fact, we're only missing, I think, 3 seeds, 2 from tier 2, or sorry, 4 seeds. We're missing 3 from tier 2 and 1 from tier 4. So the ones that we are currently missing are the coral seeds, the dye seeds, the honey seeds, and the end seeds. And the reason we don't have those is simply due to the fact that we did not have the resources immediately available. So things like the coral agglomeratio here requires 4 different blocks of coral, and we need 4 of that coral agglomeratio to make the coral seeds. And so now that we have those, we're basically going to try and get the remaining 4 seeds here. So the coral agglomeratio really shouldn't be too difficult. Again, we do need 4 of it, which basically means that we need 4 of each of these different coral blocks. And in fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, right back at the beginning of the pack, I think there's a quest line that we didn't finish because we didn't get all of the required coral. Yeah, right here under Flint Sieving, there's a quest to get all of these different coral blocks that we didn't end up doing. The way that you get coral here is by right-clicking a coral seed onto seawater, and the way that you get those coral seeds is by sifting overworld matter, specifically in a waterlogged sieve. So we can take our regular old sieve that we have, I believe, in the system here, and if we place that in water with, I believe, any mesh should work. So basically, I think we'll just put a sieve right about here. For now, this is obviously a temporary sieve that's not going to stay in the long run. And then basically, we just have to sift this long enough to get 4 of each coral seed. Okay, so not too long later, we have all of the coal, and of course, once again, we are being attacked by phantoms, so we will quickly go and take a nap over here. But at this point, I think we should be pretty much good to go. All we need to do is place each of these bits of coral into these barrels that have seawater in them. This setup, of course, from the very beginning of the pack was where we were getting our prismarine from. We did make some prismarine seeds just now, and so I think it's highly unlikely that we're going to need this setup for making prismarine in the future. So for now, we should basically be able to take 4 of each and every one of these corals here, and one by one, right-click those onto seawater. That will turn them into actual blocks of coral, and then once we have 4 of each block, we can craft those up into the coral agglomeratio, at which point we should then be able to make the coral seeds. And there we go. There is our coral seed. So that's 1 of 4 down. Next up, I think we'll go for the dye seeds here. These don't look like they're going to be too difficult. Again, it's another agglomeratio. This one requires cyan, orange, lime, and pink dye. So I think here, really all we need to do is just craft together the different dyes that we currently don't have. We do need 4 of each of these, but for example, orange is just yellow and red, both of which we can get from poppies and dandelions. Pink being red and white. Again, we could use beets, I guess, even instead of poppies for the red dye. We have quite a few of those. And then white dye we could, of course, get from bone meal. The lime dye is green dye and white dye. Green dye we could, of course, get from cactus and cactus paste, which we should be able to do. Do we have cactus? We do. We got 10 cactus, and we can always grow more on our snare if we so wish. And then as for the cyan dye, it's just blue dye and green dye. Again, green dye, of course, we can get through the cactus. So really, none of this should be too difficult either. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, that's going to be prudentium because we're still in the same category. We already have the prosperity seeds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, boom. And there we go, there are the dye seeds as well. So the only ones left in tier 2 here are the honey seeds. So for the honey seeds, we're going to need, you guessed it, another agglomeratio. This time it is the honey agglomeratio. For this, we need to craft 2 honey bottles with 2 honeycombs. So if we're going to get 4 honey agglomeratio, we need 8 honeycombs and 8 honey bottles. Now, these can be used, or can be made in a mob cage, which I think is probably what we'll do here. The alternative is that we get a bee and try and kind of cultivate the bees like you normally would in vanilla Minecraft using the beehives and whatnot. But I think it's going to be a bit easier for us to just get 1 bee and then use that, and I'm trying to jump on this elevator like it does anything, to get 1 bee and then use that 1 bee in a mob cage to get the items required to make both honey bottles and honeycomb. Now, to get the bee initially, I'm fairly certain that there is a doll. Yeah, the buzzing doll right here. So if you make the buzzing doll and then right-click it onto a barrel of witch water, that will spawn a bee in. Now, as it turns out, the buzzing doll is not craftable, but Twitch chat has pointed me in the right direction here. You, in fact, can buy the dolls, I assume, as a package from the store. It does cost 30 C-Bucks, and currently we do have 68, so we do have more than enough there. So if I go ahead and quickly submit those 30 C-Bucks there, we do get every single one of those dolls, which is perfect. And so now we should just be able to once again grab a barrel of some description. It's been a while since we made our last batch of witch water. Witch water in this pack is lava over obsidian. That should not be a problem. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we do have like a little witch water generator down here. We totally do. Perfect. So we don't even need that barrel there. All we need to do is take the buzzing doll and right-click it onto the stone barrel. Now, we do want to make sure that we have the sampler ready to go here. I believe we can shift right-click to clear any stored DNA in the sampler. And so basically, if we right-click on here, that should slowly but surely transform the witch water into a bee. We are going to have to kill the bee like as soon as we get the sample, because otherwise the bee is going to keep attacking us as soon as we get the sample. So real quick, we'll grab that one sample there. If he's chill, then I'm also fine. I'm happy to let that bee live the rest of his life in our underwater biosphere. That's completely fine. We can then take this, and I should check real quick if we're going to use the bee in the mob cage. We can either use a hay bale or a grass block, with the grass block giving us that standard 15% growth modifier. And as luck would have it, we do have 248 grass blocks ready to go. So once again, if we just shift right click the gilded blackstone out of the existing mob cage, put in the grass block, and then right click in the DNA sampler, that should begin to slowly but surely generate us. And also we'll take these out now. We don't need any more of these gas tears or any more of this fiery blood now that we have the seeds for those. But it should slowly but surely start to get us, I believe, both honeycomb and honey drops. There's a 50% chance on both of those, and the honey drops can be used to make honey bottles. So we need about 8 of each of those. It does take, I think, is it 90 seconds per cycle of the cage here? Yeah, so approximately once every minute and a half, we're going to get one of these two, with each one having a 50% chance. You expect to get one of each per cycle. And so it is going to take a little while for that to come through and get us all the resources we need to make the seed. While we wait for that, we can, of course, look at the very last seed that we have to make, and that is the end seed. The end seed here is made, once again, with agglomeratio. The end agglomeratio here made with endstone, chorus fruit, and purple blocks. Endstone we do not have, purple blocks we do not have, and chorus fruit we do not have. And so let's quickly clear out our inventory here. And I believe basically all we're going to have to do is grab our end map, aka the stronghold map. Once again, head on through to the end. So once we're in the end, I think throwing an ender pearl through this end gateway here is going to be our quickest way to try and find some chorus fruit and potentially an end city. Chat is pointing out that we don't necessarily need to find an end city, because you can craft purple blocks with chorus fruit. You can just smelt the chorus fruit into popped chorus fruit and then craft it. So we really just have to find some chorus flowers. So we've actually found an end city here before we found chorus fruit, which is good for the purple blocks, but less good for the chorus fruit. Okay, so a little bit of exploration in the end later, and it looks like in this mod pack, chorus flowers just do not grow at all in the end. Thankfully, there is an alternative recipe here using 8 purple blocks and 1 endstone that will allow us to make the chorus flower. And then from there, we kind of have 2 options. We can either put it into the phytogenic insulator in place of our beets over here, and then that will grow it, albeit somewhat slowly, I think. Alternatively, of course, we could try put it on some endstone and then maybe try and accelerate that growth with some kind of watering can, which might be faster. Although this phytogenic insulator is nowhere near at its maximum speed just yet. So if we swap out the regular for the resident, and we add in the 3 flux linkage amplifiers here, and we also do this, because what we don't want to do actually is we don't want, so right now what it's doing is it's trying to pull from this drawer up here. What we should do temporarily is swap that out for a different 2x2 drawer if we have one. We totally do. If we do this, take those out, then do this. Oh, this one's full of eggs. Okay. In that case, if we quickly make a new 2x2 drawer, what we should be able to do is place that down on top like so. That should then fill up with both chorus fruit as well as the bottom slot there will be for chorus flowers. The idea being, of course, much like with the beets and the beet seeds before it, that as the chorus flower is ejected up, it then gets pulled directly back down because here we have the configuration set to auto output and auto input. And so you'll see that we are getting chorus fruit here actually fairly quickly, even without the use of Phytogrow here. You can put Phytogrow in the bottom slot, this guy right here, which will increase the speed at which the phytogenic insulator works. But I don't think, unfortunately, we have what it takes to make this. Actually, never mind, we can definitely make it. It says extremely potent fertilizer. So if I put that in, does that make it a lot faster? It definitely makes it faster, but I don't know if it makes it so extremely fast that it's worth making a ton of it. Either way, back over on the end seed here, if we are going to make this, we need 4 end agglomeration, which means 8 end stone, 4 purple blocks, and 4 chorus fruit. And then if we're going to make the 4 purple blocks, we actually just need 4 chorus fruit as well. So I think we're actually there. We'll take 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, quickly smelt those up in our Supremium furnace here. Once those are done, we can craft those into the 4 purple blocks we need. We already have the 8 end stone, and then over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, we also have the chorus fruit. And so I'm pretty sure, chat, that we can now craft 4 of this end agglomeration, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then as per usual, all we need to do now is head on back through into our compact machine, up to the second floor. 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe that tier 4 is tertium essence, although I will check that because I could be wrong there. And I am. Tier 4 is Imperium Essence, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then seed-wise, we should still have a bunch of Prosperity Seeds. We do. You can go in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. And while we wait for that to finish, let's quickly go and check on our bee cage. So over here, we have managed to acquire 9 honeycomb and 7 honey drops, which is a little unfortunate. It means we do have more than enough honeycomb. We actually have 1 extra, but it does appear that we're 1 honey drop shy of where we need to be. Hopefully, this next one here that is almost done will get us 1 more honey drop. If it does, we should also have everything we need to make the honey agglomeration as well. And we did. Nice. We got 1 of each. Perfect. So let's quickly go ahead and craft that up. Good stuff. At that point, if we go back to the honey seeds here, we should be able to make 4 honey agglomeration. The end seeds are done. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one, again, is Prudentium. So we need 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then finally, the very last seed here. Boom, and boom. And once that is done, that should be everything. At that point, we should be able to claim every single one of these chapter challenge quests. There we go. Chapter 2 is done as well. So in here, let's go ahead and tick, 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 and tick. We'll come back to actually claiming the specific seeds in a second because there might be certain ones that we want. I'm actually not too sure which ones of these we do want just yet, but the actual final reward here does get us the Seabuck's seeds. And so now we can take these, give them their own hydroponic bed, and in doing so, we will actually be able to grow the Seabuck essence, and we can then use that Seabuck essence to craft Seabucks. And so now we essentially have an unlimited amount of money with which to buy basically anything and everything that we like from the store an unlimited number of times. So if we wanted to, we could really just buy all of our Ender Pearls going forward with Seabucks. Of course, somewhat impractical because of the fact that we already have Ender Pearl Essence, but we do have that option available to us should we wish. So now that we have all of these seeds, we will come back to these because, again, if we're going to craft up 33 of every single one of these singularities, we're going to need 165,000 of every single one of these resources, and as good as our ore quintupling system is, I don't think it's really up to the challenge of producing, for example, 165,000 diamonds. I think if we're going to get there, we're going to have to set up at least one, if not multiple, hydroponic beds working for diamond seeds, and then we're going to have to duplicate that for every other resource on this list. So we're going to have at least one, if not more, emerald seeds, seeds, glowstone seeds, lead seeds, etc. And so I'm thinking that what we'll probably do is we'll probably expand out this hydroponic bed floor to basically cover this entire layer of the machine, and then we'll probably also maybe take it a bit further and have multiple layers of hydroponic bed as well, with, I think, even more pedestals, because as I mentioned before, just having the one pedestal that covers such a large area does work, but it's definitely slower. And so what we'll probably look to do is set up a ton more of these pedestals to really accelerate the speed at which these grow, and hopefully really accelerate the speed at which we get all of this essence. But for now, I think basically what we can do is we can request maybe another stack of hydroponic beds. We don't have enough rubber, dirt, sticks, or dry rubber for that, or fertilizer. So fertilizer-wise, I don't think that should be an issue. I'm fairly certain that over here, our little fertilizer setup that is in this guy is backed up on fertilizer, so we can take all of that and dump all of that poop right back into our system. Let's try another 32 for now. Still missing 54 rubber and 3 dirt. So dirt-wise, we should be fine. We have dirt essence, and so we can actually craft up dirt nice and easily. I'm hoping my Supremium armor is doing its job. Here it is, and protecting me against this pirate spader. Beautiful. So dirt is not going to be an issue for us. We can make as much of that really as we like at this point. The rubber, though, is a different story. For whatever reason, it looks like we're not actually processing rubber down here, and that actually looks to be due to the fact that we're not extracting here, like that. Now that should start making rubber again and processing it in the pyrolyzer into the 2 types of rubber that we're after. And much like with the phytogenic insulator earlier, it's probably not going to be a terrible idea for us to upgrade both of these machines with some augments. Now, as luck would have it, we did just make rubber seeds as part of our mass seed making expedition, and so we should fairly easily actually just be able to swap out some of the pre-existing seeds. Night metal, for example, is probably not a seed that we're going to need a ton of going forward. In fact, how much night metal? We've got 21,200 night metal. I don't know quite how many night metal ingots we're going to need, although in fact, actually, I think I do right. If we're going to need 33 creative essence, each creative essence is made with 1 ultimate ingot, so we need 33 ultimate ingots, which means we only need 33 night metal. So really getting all of the ingots for the ultimate ingot isn't going to be too bad. So while we wait for that rubber to come in, it looks like 31 is the maximum number of hydroponic beds that we can make right now. And I think basically what I'm going to do now, chat, is I'm going to spend a bit of time trying to get at least 1 hydroponic bed down for every single one of these singularities, at least the ones that can have a seed. So for example, the seed does just require some kind of seeds. This is probably not going to be done by mystical agriculture. Here we can probably take a regular wheat seed or even beetroot seeds, honestly. So what we can probably do is swap this back to beet seeds, like so. Of course, making sure that we take all of these out. And then if we increase the size of that drawer using an emerald upgrade, we should hopefully be able to hold enough seeds. Again, it's going to take a while. What we might have to do is we might have to set up a whole array of phytogenic insulators, like maybe, 10 of them, if we're going to get to 165,000 beetroot seeds, which is what we would need in order to make that number of seed singularities. But for all of the other singularities like copper, silver, steel, tin, etc., we're going to want to make sure that we have at least 1 hydroponic bed for each of those seeds in this room. And then as we get more rubber, we can add more hydroponic beds as well. All right, so quite a long time later, and I've taken all of the relevant seeds and put them down along this back wall here. So basically, what I did, I looked at the ultimate singularity, and starting in the top left, working down to the stone singularity, I looked at all of the resources needed and made sure that we had at least 1 of each seed down. So you'll see here we have Yellorium, which makes uranium ingots, followed by tin, steel, silver, redstone, platinum, and if we look in here, Yellorium, aka uranium, tin, steel, silver, redstone, platinum, and then we went all the way through and put down all of the seeds for all of the singularities. So right now we have 1 seed for almost every single singularity. There are a few singularities that don't need seeds. For example, the seed singularity does need seeds, but not mystical agriculture seeds. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we'll probably do something with the phytogenic insulator to make all of those seeds. There's also stuff like the dust singularity, which just requires it just requires 5,000 dust. This should be doable with a fairly large-scale dust creation system, or even just multiple igneous extruders. That shouldn't be a problem. And then there's also stuff like the mob singularity, which we actually kind of do have a seed for. I guess we're going to use ender pearl seeds to make that. And then the mechanical singularity requires 5,000 machine frames, so we're just going to have our system make 165,000 machine frames to make that mechanical singularity, which is going to be a real pain in the backside, but it is underway. we've set up a whole wall here for all of the essences that we're getting from all of these hydroponic beds, and we've basically set up another storage drawer system with another framed storage drawer here, and then all of these essences connected to it. Between streams, this is going to run, it's going to start making us more essence. What I will probably also do between streams is maybe set up more hydroponic beds. Before that, I might look at just setting up more pedestals. I'm going to put down a few more pedestals, see how fast things get. If they look like they're going to be reasonably fast, then we might not have to put down too many more hydroponic beds. But if it's not crazy fast, then we might end up with, 2, if not 3 levels of hydroponic beds to make sure that we have quite a few of each seed required. Next time we'll come back, we'll look at making the quantum compressor. We'll also look at teaching our system how to make the singularities, or at least setting up a system so we can start making the singularities and also start making things like the ultimate ingots automatically as well. There's still a fair few things that we need to do if we're going to get all of this to come together. And we also do start to run into storage issues as well. Between streams, I don't think we're quite going to max out any of these storage drawers. Actually, these ones might get maxed out. I might go through and put a few emerald upgrades in these guys to give them a bit more storage, but we're not going to get anywhere near to the amount of essence that we need between this stream and the next stream, because for certain essences, for example, diamond essence here, you need 9 diamond essence to make 1 diamond, and then we need 165 diamonds, which means in total, we are going to need 1,485,000 diamond essence, which of course you can't currently fit into this drawer. And in fact, even if you max this drawer out with emerald upgrades, you still can't fit that much diamond essence in. And so we are going to have to do some workarounds to try and make sure that we're processing the diamond essence into diamonds and then into singularities fast enough to where things don't back up in this drawer here or in these drawers here. For now, though, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's stream there. We did finally manage to get the Seabox seeds, and so now we can go ahead and craft really as many Seabooks as we like. Again, right now we don't have too many of them, but it is now down over here, I believe, and so between streams, we will get more Seabooks essence and eventually have so much of it that we can just get anything that we like from the store. Next time we'll come back, we'll look at making some quantum compressors, making our first singularities, setting up the systems that we need to make things like the dust and the mechanical singularities, and then hopefully in the stream after that, maybe we'll have everything, and maybe we can start making the creative items and look at wrapping up the series. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's stream there. As always, guys, if you did enjoy the stream and you want to see more in the future, you can go ahead and hit follow to get notified as soon as I go live. I should be back tomorrow at around 4 p.m. BST, provided that my sore throat doesn't get any worse, which hopefully it does not. But yes, I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully. For now, you can join the Discord, discord.gg/GOC. It is free, and there's some cool people there, apart from Danish. And then you can also follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/GamingOnCaffeine. For now, though, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.